wasn't my time. It definitely wasn't your time. It was a time when gods were easier to find in India. In those times, in an ancient land, there lived a king and queen. The king was very kind and just and loved by his subjects, while the queen was rather vain and proud. Every year, she demanded for an expensive gift for the festival of Diwali. Diwali is a festival of lights, which is coming in just a couple of weeks. And the king, however difficult it was for him, he got her whatever she asked for. And that particular year, the queen asked for a 7-stringed pearl necklace. The king called for his expert divers from the far corners of his kingdom and asked them to go in search of those pearls that were large and white. The divers, with great peril to their own lives, dived deep into the ocean in search of those oysters that had pearls that were large and white. A few days before Diwali, they presented their pearls to the king. The king was very happy and he rewarded them profusely for their labor. And he called for the royal jeweler and asked him to string the pearls into a beautiful 7-stringed pearl necklace. And on Diwali morning, the royal jeweler presented the king with the necklace, and the king presented the necklace to his queen. Oh, when she saw the necklace, she quickly ran to the mirror. She fastened it about her neck and preened in front of the mirror, looked this way and that way, and admired the gleaming pearls. And she saw how large and white they were. And she ran to the king and she hugged him and smacked a kiss on his lips. Darling, shukriya, shukriya, shukriya कहने दो, रुको ना मुझको प्यार करने दो, darling. And it was the queen's custom to bathe in the river every day. The river ran close to the palace grounds. So on this particular morning, the queen was accompanied by her bevy of handmaidens, and she reached the river. But before she went into the water, she took off her pearl necklace, rested it on the rock, and asked her maidens to take good care of it, watch over it. And she went to bathe. The handmaidens sat around the pearl necklace and watched. But there was somebody else watching the necklace too. I believe it was a black bird, a crow, who was sitting on top of the tree, saw the gleaming pearls, and he swooped down and picked up the pearl necklace and flew away in a fraction of a second. The handmaidens saw this and they ran after the crow and they said, "Shoo, shoo, crow, drop the necklace, shoo, shoo, come back, come back." But soon the crow had flown out of their sight, away from the manicured palace grounds. When the queen came to know about this incident, she was crestfallen, angry, devastated. She ran to the palace to the king and she cried and she said, "Maharaj, I want my pearl necklace to be found. Please, can you do that for me?" And the king said, "I will get you another necklace." No. If you love me, you will find this pearl necklace." And you know, the king was smitten with his queen. He called for his heralds and messengers and asked them to go to every town and village in the kingdom and tell the people, whoever finds the queen's necklace would be suitably rewarded. The king's men did as they were told. They went to every town and village. Meanwhile, the crow, remember the crow, had flown from the manicured palace grounds to the poorest slum in the kingdom and dropped the pearl necklace outside a poor washerwoman's hut. Now the washerwoman and her constant companion, who was an old toothless crone, called poverty were not at home. The two did not like each other, but had learned to live with each other and adjust to each other. They had gone out to the village to collect dirty laundry when the crow dropped the necklace. Now they had reached the village and they heard the king's heralds and messengers proclaiming about the queen's missing necklace. People who were working in the fields or at home or in their shops left whatever they were doing and gathered to the village place center, and they heard the king. When the washerwoman also heard about the king's proclamation, she was lost in thought. What would it be if I found the necklace? How would my life change, she thought. And poverty cackled. Stop it! Stop dithering, woman. The ways of royalty, what do they think? Maybe she'll lose a diamond necklace next. Bah, who cares? We have loads of laundry to wash. Come on, let's go home. And she dragged the washerwoman home. The washerwoman reached her hut, dropped her bundle of clothes, and she saw something gleaming on her doorstep. She ran towards it and she picked up the necklace, held it in her hand, and she knew it was the queen's pearl necklace. And she held it in her hands and she was lost in thoughts. When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Now I have the queen's pearl necklace. I ask myself, what lies ahead? Will I be rich? Will I be happy? I smile at myself tenderly. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. What will be, will be. She suddenly broke out of her thoughts and she turned to Poverty and said, I have an errand to run. Don't you wait up for me, I'll be back. And she took the necklace and rushed towards the palace. She was stopped at the palace gates by the king's guards. But once she explained the purpose of her visit, she was taken to the king's chamber. And she saw the king and she curtsied and said, Happy Diwali, Maharaj. I have something that belongs to the queen. And she gave the pearl necklace to the king. Good God, woman, where did you find this pearl necklace? Oh, doesn't matter. You're honest. Let me reward you. Take this bag of gold coins and silver coins. This should feed and clothe you for years to come. Thank you, Maharaj. I am a humble washerwoman. I don't need these gold coins. However, I have a favor to ask. What is it? Today is Diwali, the festival of lights. I want you to decree that no one in the kingdom will light a lamp in their house tonight. Not even the palace. Even the palace will not be lit. I want my house to be the only lighted house in the entire kingdom. Strange, thought the king, but then he said, why not? He was a just king. He was a kind king. And he said, fine. And he called his heralds and messengers and told them to go to every town and village and tell the people not to light a single lamp that night. And he ordered the palace guards to remove all the oil lamps from the palace grounds and put them in storage for next year. The washerwoman thanked the king, ran from the palace to the marketplace, bought as many oil lamps as she could afford, and went to her house and arranged the lamps outside the hut. And she waited, and she waited, and she waited for evening. It was a new moon day. Diwali, the festival of lights, falls on a new moon day, on a dark, moonless night. It's in winter, so it was cold, and in the evening, she lit the lamps and looked out of the window to the north, to the south, to the east, and to the west. The entire kingdom lay in darkness, not a glimmer of light. And she smiled and she waited. Meanwhile, in the heavens, Laxmi, the goddess of wealth and prosperity, was getting ready to visit the kingdom. It was her annual visit. She visited all the houses that were well lit and decorated, so that she would bless them with health, wealth, and prosperity. So she got down to the kingdom and she exclaimed, "Isn't it Diwali? Why is it dark? I can't see a glimmer of light. Have I forgotten? Isn't it Diwali today?" She checked her calendar and she confirmed that it was Diwali indeed. She stumbled. She went and hit against trees, branches, rocks. She was soon covered in lumps, bumps, bruises, and scratches. And she was scared of the dark. And she was hungry. And at a distance, she saw a slight glimmer of light. Laxmi ran towards that light, towards the washerwoman's hut. And once she reached, she banged on the door and she said, "Open up, please. Let me in. Let me in." This was the moment the washerwoman had been waiting for. She walked towards the door when suddenly she could see Poverty trying to creep out of the back door. The washerwoman ran to the back door and held the back door, and Poverty screeched, "Let me go, woman. You know there isn't enough space for the two of us. Laxmi and I can't live in the same house. Let me go." And this was the moment the washerwoman had been waiting for. She told Poverty, "I will. Promise me that you will never visit me for 7 generations. "Yes, yes, I promise you anything, just let me go." And the clever washerwoman opened the back door and Poverty just vanished. Whoosh. Meanwhile, Laxmi was banging on the front door. "Let me in, let me in, let me in. I'm so scared and I'm so hungry." And the washerwoman, before she opened the door, called out, "I will. Promise me that you will stay with me for 7 generations to come." "Yes, yes, I will do anything you ask for. I will stay with you. Just let me in." And the clever washerwoman opened the front door and welcomed Laxmi into her house. And she was indeed blessed with health, wealth, and prosperity for years and years and generations